And let's get going. Hey, everybody, welcome to our first episode of Nerdy for Novels,
Hello,
everybody's favorite Nerdy by Nature spinoff,
featuring me, Moxie, and
and me, Other Moxie.
that's not true.
It's a lie. I'm actually Ken.
Yeah, that's not correct at all.
We're just trying out because we like other things, like we mentioned before, but sometimes the things we like aren't everybody's favorite things. So that's why Kim's not here. Um, who knows if they'll ever be here for a book club? They don't like to read, as we mentioned before.
Who likes books?
I do.
I listen to audiobooks, Ken.
I also listen to audiobooks. I just also read. I'm the best of both worlds.
I'm blind.
I'm. I was Never mind. I'm not blind, I guess. I did get the laser eye surgery. Anyway, today we're talking about Brisingr by Christopher Paolini. Now, you as an audience might be asking, why are you guys talking about the third book in a series? Um, that's just because the way that life lined up.
Yeah, we tried to have a book club about Aragon, and then I was like, I don't really want to read it, Ken. And Ken's like, I already read it, and the second book.
Yeah, because I was like, this is really cool. And I just powered through them because I couldn't put them down.
Um,
And then
ironically, Ken gave up on the book club, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I will give it a good read. And I started listening to the audiobooks.
but at this point, I had just finished Brisingr, and I am. This is a hell of a book. I want to say this. Let's just start with like initial opinions. This is I'm not saying they're not all thick books, and I read thick boys. I read thick books, like Doorstoppers and stuff. But, whoo boy,
It's a lot of dwarf politics.
a lot of dwarf politics.
My favorite was when they ousted the dwarves for the dwarf conspiracy.
Yeah, I genuinely, I'm asking myself, is that coming back?
I don't.
I don't think it is. I know you've read the rest. Oh, yeah, for context, Moss has read the whole series. This is my first time reading the series.
Well, I haven't read the newest books, so
That is true, but the main quadrilogy,
main
Quartet?
Yeah, the main quartet of books.
yeah, you have read. I haven't.
I accidentally kicked that thing.
It's fine. It's your stuff.
Gonna abuse it.
So yeah, that was I think overall it is a good book. I do like a lot of like the opening scene is really cool. I actually looked up reviews at the time. Because I take book club seriously and I do research.
Yeah,
Um,
that
uh,
feels like a little bit of a dig.
it was a joke. It's a joke. Okay, I just want to make this clear. I've never had a successful book club in my life. This isn't for you. This is for them, so they know this. So if I'm a little spiteful, that is like 90% why. I'm using this show as an excuse to force an actual book club to work. Um,
And I've never done a book club in my life.
um, sorry. I was trying to subtly tell Moxie she get a little closer to the mic.
Books.
Yeah, that's better.
I'll just keep it right here,
Yeah.
sensually.
Yeah, you don't have to hold it. I mean, I know we talked about you putting it in your mouth before, but so no, this book was solid. I like the way it starts. I like how traumatized like Aragon is for a lot of it because like he has a nightmare at one point about his dad being Darth Vader. Oh, by the way, this is something Ken, am bad at names, famously bad at names. So even when I'm reading, sometimes I'll just won't click what a character's name is, and I'll just assign them a different name for my own memory. So I don't remember what Murtagh and Aragon's dad's name is.
Well, there's a whole lot. There's a lot of spoiler. So, spoiler alert.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we should
the-
probably-
the spoilers, guys.
Yeah, spoilers ahead.
Fuck.
If that wasn't
hold on,
obvious.
yeah, before we keep going, then let's say the non-spoiler. I think this book was pretty good. I give it probably a 3.5 out of 5. Like, it's not bad. It's just a lot, and it's not like I was hoping for more. It's just slow. Like, none of it. I don't know how else to say this. It was a slow book. Everything felt important, and I was always into it, but I was always tired after I put it down.
If you want to feel like you're a part of fantasy politics, Brisingr is the book for you.
I love fantasy politics.
I also love fantasy politics. This is a glowing review. I want to be clear.
Yeah, I do like this book. It was just a lot. I was just tired. Like, I told myself, I'm like, I just need a break. Like, it's not like I don't like it. I was like, oof, man, that was a lot. That was a lot going on. But yeah, things like Nasawade stuff. Okay, now spoilers. Nasawade stuff with the fucking
The Trial of the Long
Trial
Knives.
of the Long Knives was sick. I love that. Like, that's one of those things where I'm like, Christopher Paolini, my dude, that was really cool. That was clever as hell.
Cooking.
Yeah. And then there's other things like the super child whose name I forget.
Is it? It's not.
I don't know. I think they need to put her down. I know they're not going to, but I genuinely, like, when she was like, now I can do whatever I want, I was terrified. I was
now
like,
I can be the supervillain I always wanted to
and
be.
I'm like,
is it Evelyn?
kill her. It is Evelyn, yeah.
Evelyn, yeah.
Kill her. Like,
Murder the child. Well, I mean, it's Aragon's fault. He cursed the child.
He did. He created
He created a monster. Now he needs to put it down.
I do like how the book talks about pacifism. I actually like that theme a lot. I was actually talking to a friend about this. So I've been getting into a lot of mecha anime recently.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one of my favorite mecha animes when I was younger is called Eureka 7. If you haven't seen it, do you recommend it?
I have seen it.
Okay, well then
It's pretty good.
My favorite arc is the main character because when the show first starts, instead of being like an ace pilot, he's shitty. He sucks. Like, the mechs in that series can transform, and I love it because he's like half transformed at one point. Like, it's just legs and the rest is a jet because he doesn't know how to fucking drive. And then by the halfway through the series, he is one of the best pilots. Like he does go through that character arc. But what I love is it's like I think it's at the halfway point where he's doing the thing, and at this point it's routine, and he's like, woo, yeah, and then it stops being fun immediately because for whatever reason during this fight he actually turns around to look at the other mechs and he notices like blood's pouring out, like they're like falling apart. And he's like, oh, I'm killing people, and and then like for the rest of the series he's fighting with like basically a handicap to hold himself back because he's like, I don't want to kill people anymore. And I think that's really cool, and I like it because the series becomes about him like trying to enjoy doing that. Because like a big point of the world in that show is like the freedom and the pleasure of like going for a ride. I think they equate it to like surfing. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry for the quick tangent, but my point was like Aragon. What I like about it, I like that his like pacifism thing. I do like that the world is calling him out on it because I know a lot of fantasy series like to do that, where they'll be like, "Hey, stop being a big wussy. Mercy is bad," because it's a complicated issue. You know what I mean?
Yeah, even down to like the whole with him taking on the elf aspects and connecting with everything around him, stopping eating meat, and then realizing that there's going to be situations in this like warlike time where he can't pass up that nutrition and he has to compromise his values for.
Speaking of one of the critics at the time, I saw his like one of his like bad points is like, yeah, so the author brings up, I'm gonna do it in an obnoxious voice, the author brings up a plot point that Aragon no longer eats meat, and then he just immediately gets over it in the next book. And it's like, well, he does immediately get over it because as soon as he has that moment that you're talking about, they mention for the rest of the book, like he never has a moment where he's like, oh, meat again. But they always make it clear like his preference isn't meat. But it's also like, I actually prefer it. I would have gotten annoyed probably reading it if like every single time he'd had to be like, oh, disgusting. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know how he feels about it. I don't need him to narrate it every time.
Yeah, I like they show that he clearly has that preference and he has this taste for murder or like ending something's life or being a part of that in any way. But he also understands and accepts the necessity of it.
Speaking of,
and won't push that on.
I really like the scene where he has to like quick recharge all his magic items. So he like goes to the kitchen and just kind of lays there for a little while, like absorbing the deaths of the animals right before they die, like they get butchered. I thought that was really clever.
Yeah, he tries, and how he tries to like ease their pain
Yeah,
with his magic.
yeah. No, I thought that was really clever. Um, let's see, what are some other standout scenes? So going into the series, I did not think Murtagh was going to be evil. I think in the last book, spoilers for Eldest, that reveal was pretty shocking for me because I genuinely thought he was going to be like the Shadow the Hedgehog, like he was going to just be the edgy counterpart that was with Aragorn the whole time.
Yeah.
But that was a very big surprise.
So I can't say anything to that point. Except that, I mean, Shadow the Hedgehog was presented as a villain at first.
That is true. He was presented as a villain at first.
I love that he's literally Shadow and Sonic.
Bro, it's there's so much in life that you can break down as just Shadow and Sonic.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But even down to the coloring is like...
Yes! I'm telling you, so much in life can just be broken down as Shadow and Sonic.
Although, I will say, as much as I absolutely laughed my ass off the first time I heard... no offense to the guy who does, like, the audiobooks. Fantastic job most of the time. But making Murtagh a Scottish man in his 30s was just an odd decision to me.
Yeah, So, Brisingr was so dense that I'm not gonna lie, I had to do both. I had to do the audiobook and read the book. And yeah, the first time I heard Murtagh, I died. Oh, but the one that I will criticize, I will 100% criticize, is the voice of Saphira. Yeah, that was...
Well, that's because you expect a seductive fucking dragon.
Mommy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, but to be fair, like, they're supposed to be, like, an ethereal, beautiful... Why would she be screaming in Aragorn's head all the time, like, Aragorn, I want to eat deers and shit? Like...
Yeah, but also, like, I get the rumbling he, like, attributes to them, like, it's this giant predatory, like, creature. It's not going to be like, oh, Aragorn, I need to hunt deer.
Why wouldn't it be, though? They're talking through their brains. Are you telling me that Saphira's voice in her brain is rare darkness, no parents?
It might be.
I'm so horny.
Maybe she thinks it's cool.
I don't know. Well, dragons are supposed to be like really prideful, ethereal beings. Like, I don't know. I think it'd make more sense if they're like, oh yes, in our language, we're very eloquent and beautiful and ooh.
Yeah, but they're also like...
But they're also like, I'll eat deer and people.
Yeah, they're more like, I'm a hunter. The beauty of me is my terror. You know what?
Yeah. I don't know.
I get both. I
don't think it's a great interpretation, but that's like my opinion, dog. I get it. At the end of the day, it really, like, I don't have, like, the audiobook's solid. I like how he switches voices really quick. I mean, that's the thing, all narrator audiobook performances, like, a really good one.
Yeah, he's actually really, really good. As much as I'm, like, shitting on it, he does a phenomenal job.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah. Oh, speaking of cool stuff, going back to Chris Paolini's really cool ideas, I love the laughing men, the laughing soldiers. It's really cool. Where, like, they turn off enough of their nerves just so that they could, like, never feel pain, but not too many so they can't fight. That's just a really cool concept. I really like that a lot.
I love the way they realistically do magic. Like, he tries to make it almost scientific. Like, there is an exact science to this, as much as it is like, oh, we can explain away whatever the fuck we want with magic.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a soft magic system, but it's like in this mid-ground. I keep telling you, man, you got to read some more stuff with hard magic systems. I know you'd love them.
I can't... It's in the next book, so I'm not going to say anything about it.
Yeah.
But it really reinforces that point, and you'll know it when you get to it.
Yeah.
You'll probably want to talk to me about it immediately because it's hilarious.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Okay. So what, does he make his dick bigger? Like, what do you mean?
Well, I can tell it's not that big a spoiler.
No, you don't tell me. I'd rather not know.
Okay.
I've gotten so much of the series spoiled beforehand just by virtue of, like, cultural osmosis that I'd rather not. And when surprises happen, I am genuinely surprised.
That's fair. Then I won't say anything.
But then other things like Braum dying in the first book, I was like, oh, there it is. And then the elf teacher, Oramus, I think is his name, when he died, I was like, oh, there it is. Um, I, to be fair, sending a man with like constant seizures into battle
And
did not seem like a good idea.
yeah, it
It's
really felt like he was like, "It's my time."
yeah, I was really confused when he was like, "Ah, I'll fight Murtagh," even though I canonically know why he's so strong because I told Aragon about it.
Yeah, it didn't feel like a smart move,
I will say,
but I guess the alternative was like letting Isla Zadi and the elves fight him.
early in the book, Brisingr, um, Sephora says that she could have ripped
Sephora.
Sephira, Sephora, Dragon Mommy, said she could have ripped off Thorn's wing, like in the fight. She just decided not to. She should have just did it. To be honest, like they could have probably fixed it. Like realistically, it would have been one of those things where it's like, hey, we magic back on. But like, she should have did it. Like,
Yeah, but I like that she was apprehensive to do it because she, in the back of her mind, there's still that concern about, oh, hey, like that. There's no guarantee that last egg is gonna be male.
yeah. No, there
This
is,
might
though.
be it.
There is though. They were told that in Eldest.
Huh?
Yeah. So canonically, as far as I remember, in Eldest, they established that Galbatorix. Speaking of, we haven't brought him up. One of the best villain names ever. Like I don't know what random name generator he got that out of, but that's some hard shit.
I love it because apparently they explain it away that in the ancient language, it's a combination of the words for big and king. He named himself Big King.
That's right, I'm the king, mama.
I'm Galba Torex. I'm Big King.
Galbatorix. Anyway, he apparently has been using magic to like talk to the eggs, try to force them to wake up. It's one of the reasons why Saphir is so pissed. Like she mentions, like he was like prodding at her, and at the end of Eldest, Murtagh is like, no, the reason why we want to capture you so bad isn't just because we want another rider, as dope as that be. The real reason is because you're the only one with a female dragon, and we need a breeding program, baby. And like I remember telling you when I finished Eldest, I'm like, that's like a horrifying prospect.
Yeah.
Like it raises the stakes so much more. Like dying is bad, but becoming a broodmare against your will is fucking worse.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Hey, little mama, let me whisper in your ear. That's what Galbatorix is.
my favorite character is Angela the Witch.
I'm gonna have to agree with Chris Paolini that Brom shouldn't have died in the first book. He should have stayed alive.
Probably would have made a lot of things.
Make way more sense.
Yeah.
But finish with your Angela discussion because I do have a thing to say about Brom.
All right. Angela is just my absolute favorite because of how much of an enigma she is.
Yeah.
Through into Brisingr and the fact that you get the hints and you met Aragon meets her like mentor and he's even crazier.
Yeah. That was pretty good. I like how she freaks out. It's the first time in the whole series you see her like, what did you just say?
Who? You want where? Where?
Yeah, that shit was pretty great. Speaking of cool characters, what was it? Fuck, I lost my train of thought really bad. It was Angela. I had a thing to say.
About Brom.
It was about Brom. Yeah, Brom shouldn't have died. Oh, speaking of, I think Aragon should have been mad about Brom. I know a complaint that a lot of people have outside, like in the fandom, is that Aragon is like a big like too much of a himbo. Like he's too like nice of a kid, and like I don't super disagree with that. I don't like super agree with that because like I like Star Wars, and like he's Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, he's
And, yeah, I like him because he's Luke Skywalker. And like the only difference is Luke has the whole arc of like the temptation of the dark side. Until like the big reveal in Return of the Jedi was like, psych, I was never tempted by the dark side. I was lying to you. So with Aragon, it never feels like he doesn't make the like a nice decision. I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think that's like a character flaw or anything. That is just the only point. Because in the first book, I would say he's a lot more brash and hard, and then he goes does the elf stuff. And now I'm gonna say like I think he's become considerably less interesting because he achieved nirvana really early on. Because in that third book, like I feel like I would have been pissed about the Braum thing. I would have specifically been pissed at my dragon. Like the fact that he's like, no, I understand. I would have been like, no, promise me you're never gonna do that again. Promise me you're never gonna make a promise behind my back because that was fucked up. Like again, the Braum thing, whatever, debatable. We had this discussion outside of this. We were talking about it, but like if my dragon, my other half, my partner, like does that to me, I said I was about to say partner, like we're romantic, but I just mean to say like if like, you're supposed to be my ride or die, and if you're literally promising other beings that you hold things from me, that I can't do that. I can't fuck with that. So I would have been a little more mad at her. I just was upset that he wasn't upset at all though. Okay, and part of me, I will concede this one point. He was so happy his dad wasn't Darth Vader that he just instantly was like, my dad's Braum. I get that because he was very traumatized by that.
Yeah, I think it was more. It's again, I can't say anything, but I do think some of your concerns there may get alleviated in the next book.
All right, yeah, but you get where I'm coming from then, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because like, I don't know. Betrayal's a big thing for me. So like, I just really don't like that. That was a big one. Like, I think withholding that you're my dad was pretty fucked. Because for me, it feels like a retcon. I definitely see the breadcrumbs that were leading up to it, but it feels like a fucking retcon. Because like, I don't know. There feels like a lot of points where Braum could have just like adopted him
Yeah.
after a while. You know what I mean? Like at first I get this, like we have to hide, nobody can know. But it's like, yeah, but also like he was like 14. Like you could have at some point been like, hey, it's time. Unless you wanted to make it that his uncle was the one that was like, no, fuck you. But I as far as I am, that didn't come up. So like, I don't know. Uh, ironically, that would have made it more like Star Wars. Because part of the they canonically, this is the one of the new stuff, like one of the new Disney canon stuff. But they showed in the Obi-Wan show that Obi-Wan really was trying to be part of Luke's life, and Uncle Owen was like, "Fuck you, like what you did to Anakin was so fucked up. Get out."
I didn't know that.
It's in the new
It makes
show.
sense though.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the original canon for like the Legends stuff, it was just that Obi-Wan just wasn't around very much. Like he was always in the background, but he didn't really like Luke had to have known him because he knew who Ben Kenobi was, but it's not like they were like BFFs.
Yeah.
But in the new canon with the Obi-Wan show, they made it straight up. It's like, no, Uncle Owen was like, get the fuck out. Like, we don't want you here.
You ruined Anakin.
Yeah.
So I could see if that was the case. I think it'd be a little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
If it was.
Yeah. I do think the stuff with Aragon's mom is really neat. I figure there's gonna be a reveal. I don't think they're gonna leave her like as like a terrible, horrible, evil spy lady. But also, it would be interesting if that is how she was, and she just redeemed herself. That'd be cool too. I'm not saying that that's bad. It's just like, I'm very curious to know a little bit more about her, as a person. Let's see any other substantial scenes. As much as I clown on the dwarf stuff, I'm glad that my boy became Dwarf King. That was cool.
Yeah, I liked the assassination attempt.
That was a good scene. That was a really good scene. It's funny enough, I like the running thing through the book of I need a sword. Through the whole book, he keeps going through swords, and I thought that was really cool. I do think he should have used Murtag's sword for a little bit, but I do understand why he didn't want to. That's just one of those things where I thought it would have been cute, but I get why the character doesn't want to do it.
I do like that he makes his final sword, like his rider sword, a hand and a half sword in honor of it, though.
I do like that. I like it's also practical. I like how it makes him laugh. Like at first he was just doing it because it's practical, and then he's like, "Oh, it's a hand and a half sword. Ha, that's funny." Like
Yeah.
he realizes, yeah, that's yeah. I do think it's really disappointing that the lady who makes the sword doesn't want to do it anymore. I get why. I understand why. It's just sad. Like,
Well, she swore it in the so it's even worse because she wants to do it, but she swore it in the ancient language that she can't.
no, I know. I remember. I was there.
Um,
I was there when Chris was writing it.
yeah. Looking
I
over
know.
her
You're
shoulder.
continue. No, yeah.
I thought it was a really cool scene of her using his body to make the sword.
I actually really love that scene because that's cool. That was really cool, and I like how they're implying that it's a better sword than most because he was part of the making of it process.
Yes.
Like it's even more tied to him than like any other rider sword. But I will say the one of the things that I love about that scene is it felt like Chris Paolini was turning the camera and like already pointing to us and being like, "Shut up." Because I love that Aragon's like, well, by technicality, aren't you still breaking your oath? And her answer is, I don't consider this breaking my oath. So if you want a fucking sword, stop arguing before you change my mind.
Yeah. She's like, look, this doesn't work if I consider it breaking my oath. So shut the fuck up.
Yeah, stop arguing. Do you want a sword or don't you? I really like that. I like that scene a lot. Like I said, there's so much in this book that I like. I like how they're foreshadowing some stuff.
I like the explanation behind the elves' longevity. I thought that was really cool.
What's that?
Oh, the pact that the elves made with the dragons is the reason they're so powerful in magic, and the reason they're basically ageless.
That makes sense. I don't remember that detail.
Yeah,
But
they literally joined their two races so much so that it made them more powerful.
That makes a lot of sense because... So go ahead.
And when humans were added, that's why humans started getting more civilized.
Yeah.
And the fall of the riders has led to a decrease in civility in humans, which is why some people are getting more and more backwards and like attacking people.
Yeah. That actually makes a lot of sense because I know Chris Paolini has talked about that the dragons were based off of cats, like the way they act, the way they do, and the elves are constantly described as cat-like. So that actually is like one of those really subtle connections that they have. I like that a lot.
I have a theory that wherever the werecats get their weird like fortune-telling future powers from is the same place that the dragons got their like badass powers from. Their weird magic
that makes
feeling.
sense. That makes sense. I like a lot of the book. Let's see. Do I have any complaints? I mean, I already said like I think that it's kind of heavy with the
Politics.
slowness. Like I just think like the pacing is pretty fucking glacial. But I think like everything's interesting. That's why it's so weird. Because even my complaint is a complaint. Like I'm trying to say this is bad, but I'm into it. It's like watching it's like if somebody says, "Hey, just so you know, this is a 10 season show, but like 3 seasons in the middle are really fucking slow."
But it's all necessary to get the end of it.
Yeah, and I'm like, and the problem is I already care about everybody present. Like I'm into it. But
Yeah.
fuck, man, it is slow. Like there isn't a lot happening. And like I think the whole book is like over the course of like 3 days, isn't it? 3 or 4 days? It's like no, not exactly because I know travel time. But like, it's just like it's like a week or two, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot happened. It's cool though. I really enjoy the book. Also, you know, best boy Roran. He got to clap cheeks. He got to get married.
Roran the sociopath.
Roran the fucking best boy.
Roran that kills 100 men single-handedly, and fucking Aragon still struggles with 50.
I actually that's one of my favorite lines in the whole fucking book. I love when Nasawade, it's from her point of view, where she looks at him and she's like, wow, he has all of Aragon's positive qualities, except that if this man were to betray me, I would be terrified because I would lose.
Yeah.
It's like with Aragon, it's like, okay, well, like, he's too nice of a guy, so if he betrayed me, it'd probably be fine.
He'd still be on my side, basically.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Roran would be like, I would burn, if you hurt my wife, I'd burn down your country and make you watch.
Yeah, he would end the Varden, and I believe him. Like
he would end the Varden, Galbatorix would be like, handshake, and then he'd rip off Galbatorix's arm and beat him to death with it.
Yeah, and then he'd be like, time to go back to my farm.
It's time to go back to my farm and
he's
follow
like
my
the
wife.
definition of farmer strength. Like
he really is, and I love it. I love him as a character. I love him conceptually.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Still, favorite character though is Angela the Witch. She's just so weird, so out there.
Valid. For me, it's Roran for sure. He didn't do much in this book, but I was happy for him. Angela the Witch, I get it. We're gonna have to wrap in a few minutes. I think we got about 10 minutes. Is any Spitfire thoughts you got on it?
Nothing off the top of my head other than.
Well, for me, I'm very curious to see how this wraps in one book. I'm not gonna lie, because it feels like there's still a lot going on. Like they got to be Murtagh, they got to be Galbatorix. I do think. I was thinking about Angela's prophecy. I'm like 90% sure it's gonna end with Aragon leaving, like the kingdom, because there's a running thing in Brisignr talking about how he keeps making too many promises, and he's got too many loyalties to too many different people, and a lot of Aragon himself wants to be free. Like that's like part of like what he's setting up for himself. So I'm getting that vibe that he's gonna end up leaving.
Yeah, the fact that all the places that they're drawn to naturally and happiest are these open
Yeah.
plains and exploring, and it keeps saying too. It keeps foreshadowing
Yeah.
that he's gonna leave and never return. He's gonna
Yeah.
leave, and everyone keeps saying it.
Yeah, no, for sure. So that's one of those things where I think that's gonna go somewhere. I know for a fact Murtagh doesn't die because he got his own book. Thanks, Chris. Um,
Is that not the continuation?
uh, Murtagh?
Yeah.
It takes place like 5 years later. It's he said that it's technically not Aragon 5. It's setting up for Aragon 5.
Oh.
So it's like you could read it. It might start a whole Murtagh series, but it's not necessarily the next step in Aragon's story.
That's sad, but kind of exciting.
But
to
also
hold Murtagh
cool.
book.
I mean, Murtagh.
Yeah,
Can
Murtagh's
carry
a great
his own
character.
story. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually, the one thing I got spoiled about that book is that Thorn has like legit PTSD, and will just like go into fucking like thrashes, and it's not helping their image. Like they're trying to be like, no, we're better now, and then like somebody will light a firework, and Thorn just goes on a rampage because he freaks out.
That's really sad.
Yeah.
I'm excited to read Angela's spin-off book.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a collection of short stories, so I know it's not gonna be super much, but I am also pretty interested in that one. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Inheritance. Unfortunately, you fucking got a head start. I haven't started rereading. I haven't started reading it for you to reread. I know, but we'll get back to you guys. And if there's ever anything else that we want to do a book club on, like please, I want to talk more about books.
Yeah.
With anybody. Also, we're considering, just for the audience to know, we're considering doing this for like TV shows, movies,
Games.
things like that. Games, yeah. We're obviously still trying to work it all out, but we'll get to it. Well, anyway, thank you for listening. We're pretty low on time, but love you guys.
Have a good one. Remember to like and subscribe.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Be safe. Don't do drugs.
Don't do school. Stay in school.
School's a scam.